quarterbacks leaving, running backs skedaddling to new locations. We got a lot going on for the offseason. Transfer portal, I think, opens up in 2 or 3 days now, and things are heating up. Spring football. Also, we've got top offensive and defensive breakout performers for the Power Four conferences. We'll give 3 or 4 each. Maybe we talk about that a little bit later. Corey, Nico, I'll let you say the last name from Tennessee.
No, don't do that. We're talking to the person that speaks Samoan. No, that's not fair to me.
So Nico Iamaleava is gone. I love the I am a leaving. Did you see any of those?
Not see those.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. That was the like recycled joke of the day on Twitter. But yeah, off to some new location. Tennessee said we're not doing this. I tip my cap to the coaching staff, saying you're going to hold out on us. You're not going to show up to meetings on Friday, and our spring game is on Saturday. That's a bridge too far.
I think it sets a precedent of what you're going to allow players to do with you. Like, you're not going to be held hostage by players, and if they want to try and hold you hostage, great, that's the door. And so people will think twice before holding you hostage, even if it is, your top player potentially, So I think it's a great precedent this time.
Yeah, it's kind of like Sark's philosophy of if you enter the portal, there's no, it's a one-way door. There's no coming back. This is obviously a slightly different situation than someone just thinking about entering the transfer portal, more publicly demanding certain things, and then, if you threaten to leave, that you almost have to. In any negotiation, if your best alternative to a negotiated agreement is walking away, you better be prepared to walk away. That's what I always learned in negotiation classes in business school. So that's what ended up happening. I'm curious to see where he ends up. It sounds like most of the major players or ones that we would kind of consider to be like in the market potentially for a QB have either publicly announced that they're not interested, or in some cases have just kind of been reported as not having conversations with them. Even one that some people suspected, North Carolina, has now got crystal balls to receive a different QB in the portal. So as of our recording, and who knows how this changes, UCLA and Tulane seem like the major players for Nico's services. So,
well, and that's the one thing that's kind of interesting. Like, if you had these teams say, "Hey, we're willing to come out and try and get you," you could have had a bidding war and you could have got that $4 million. But now that people are saying, "I'm not interested," you're not likely to get very much.
Yeah, even the ones that are interested are going to be able to get it at a discount, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, weird situation, unique, and yeah. So we'll see what happens with Nico. The other one that we talked about is kind of late breaking news. Jaden Ott, running back for Cal, had kind of an injury-riddled season in 2024, but in 2023 was a 1,300-yard rusher for the Golden Bears, is in the portal. He seems like, as of this moment, probably the real prize in the spring portal window. Of course, that can change as the portal actually opens, but he's a grad transfer, so he's able to already enter. Yeah. I have no idea if he kind of already has a landing spot plan, but you think any major contender would love to have that type of back in the rotation. This is me totally speculating. Do you think Oregon's behind that one? I could see that.
I don't think so. I mean, I think you kind of like the transfer you got in Malachi. What's his name? Oh,
I can't remember his name. Let me get it in front of me.
The Tulane transfer. Let me pull it up. I've got it up here somewhere.
Mackay Hughes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think you like that. You've got, I think it's Noah
Whittington
in the back. Who did a solid job. I think he averaged like 5.3 something carries or yards per carry. So I think you're pretty solid there. I don't know if it's anyone behind that.
All right.
I wonder, can you find one of those SEC teams that's right there on the cusp that wants to get over the hump to go to? I did see somebody post up online, OTTTOGO, ought to go. I don't know if you know the song "Hot to Go" at all.
No, sorry.
It's okay. So I thought it was a pretty clever play on words. Yeah, and where's out going? We'll see.
Yeah, we'll find out. Yeah, hey, that's one that's probably the the real prize, like I mentioned, and probably comes with a real price tag too.
Oh yeah, dude, the dude has a 91.1 PFF grade over the last 2 years. Like,
Special player.
yeah,
Okay.
definitely one of them.
Any other like sort of news reactions or updates beyond kind of where we go into more of the sort of classic off-season content where we're kind of debating? Off seasons are perfect for these kinds of debates of talking about who's going to be good next year, players to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
If there's nothing else, we can shift gears and go to that.
I'll just say Hugh Freeze announcing that he has cancer.
Oh yeah,
Not always a huge Freeze fan as far as a person and what he's done in the past. You know, we all make mistakes, or necessarily as a coach, because I'm not an Auburn fan, but definitely don't wish any ill will on him and hope he gets, everything going well, perfect for him.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself. I think we feel similar to on Hugh Freeze as far as
he's a heck of a coach. You can't deny.
Yeah, he can coach him up. He's not a boring coach, and I want him in the sport, and I want him around. So, prayers and hopes for a good treatment plan and hopefully a recovery for Hugh Freeze. All right. Offensive and defensive. I call them breakout players. I don't know. The way I initially said, like, who will become a household name, that might be too high of a bar for every single one of these players to clear. So I want to, like, set the ground with that. But maybe should we go by conference, offensive and defensive?
Let's do that.
Okay, perfect. And we'll go alphabetically here. So we'll go ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC. And I have like one mention for independents / group of five for one offensive and one defensive. And that is all I put together for those. I'm sure there are more people that deserve it. I just didn't take the time. So, okay. ACC, do you want to go like back and forth? I think we'll go like maybe like three or so and then talk about it. And this is helpful too. In fact, we'll get into the ACC one specifically, why it's helpful to me. But I've got a handful of these. Yeah, we'll alternate back and forth. It's not necessarily a draft, but more just kind of a discussion here. Yeah. Why don't you kick us off with ACC breakout performers in 2025?
All right. Give me Miller Moss, the transfer from USC. Look for Jeff Brom and his team to continue the magic they've performed with all those quarterbacks and rehab the image of the USC fall guy. Honestly, that he didn't deserve that at all. I think he's much better than people let on, and I think Louisville is going to be a contender in the ACC.
All right. I like it. Hopefully Colin Lacey stays healthy for him this year. Big weapon on the outside. I have as my first choice, so like, again, like not necessarily like a draft, but like this is the one that I thought was, I don't want to say easy, but like this is a player I'm really excited to see play, and that's Elijah Lofton at Miami. He is, he's lined up in the backfield. He's lined up as a tight end. He's split out wide. Just the versatility is really exciting, and that he's like sort of their short yardage running back may end up netting him quite a few touchdowns. I think they got a special player there.
Also, think about Carson Beck has relied on playmaking tight ends in his past, and he's a key cog right there. So
awesome. I like it. All right, you're next.
Give me Gideon Davidson, the running back out of Clemson. Freshman, Dabo Sweeney is raving over this guy. Phil Maffa moves on, and it makes the opportunity for him to grab the bull by the horns. Whether he gets as much playing as time is up to him, but he could really have a breakout year.
I like it. Good choice. I went the other way with Clemson, and it's hard for me. Again, breakout players. Again, both of these had fantastic freshman seasons. Seasons of 100 or of 700 yards receiving and 800 yards receiving, and TJ Moore and Brian Wesco. I will go with TJ Moore, and that's my choice between the two, but really promising set of wide receivers. So TJ Moore, expecting to become even more dominant. I'm pretty bullish on Clemson. It sounds like you are too, based on some conversations we've had off camera.
Yeah, I'm bullish on Clemson. I think that wide receiver core is going to be impressive. And the defense is going to be impressive. That Clemson team is going to be formidable. They should not lose the ACC, in my opinion, but we'll see. For me next, I am going to stick on that Miami train and go Jordan Lyle, running back from Miami, the lightning to Mark Fletcher's thunder a little bit. I really think that Miami's going to rely on that run to open up the pass. That's kind of what Georgia had to do with Carson Beck, and that's, I think, going to be the exact same thing. And Lyle has speed. I mean, he broke a 91-yard touchdown run last year. So don't ever count that kid out.
Couldn't say it better myself. I think it's an astute evaluation of both the player and kind of I think what their strategy will be next year. FSU's hopes and dreams rely on a true freshman running back by the name of Usman Kroma, and the word that that they ponied up to flip him from Georgia, which a good sign anytime you can flip a running back from Georgia. He needs to work out for Florida State. Let's put it that way. Not for himself, but for many Florida State fans' happiness, including me. That's an important one. So that's my final one for the ACC. I will note. Oh, sorry. If you want to comment on that one, go ahead. I will note that I had Cal QB as an option here just because they get to break in a Brian Harsin and Nick Rolovich offense, which both guys are pretty good with offense, with mobile quarterbacks. So I had between Devin Brown and Jaron Kelly Sangapolo-Tede, like those two players, one of them is likely to start, I think. Mm-hmm. But with the Jaden Ott news that he is entering the transfer portal, there goes the biggest help to any QB is an excellent run game, and you've lost your best runner. So, and one that's not easy to replace at Cal. So that was an easy scratch when we said, okay, we're going to do 3. Like, perfect, good. I just got bailed out of that one.
My last one I'm going to take is Deuce Robinson for Florida State.
Oh,
transfers from UCLA, follows the footsteps of his dad, kind of trying to take on a bigger role. Like, he's expected to start for Florida State. He only started 5 games for UCLA. And
USC, right? Southern Cal.
Huh?
Southern Cal, right? Not UCLA.
UCLA. Sorry, Southern Cal. Yeah. And let's be honest, Tommy Castellanos is going to need a big target. So
that can catch balls that maybe are a few feet out in front or a few feet behind.
Yeah, exactly. The only other person I had I was considering was Malachi Toney. He's a freshman slot receiver for Miami, and he's making big waves in spring ball. And one of the things Cristobal said is that kid loves to be pushed, and that sounds very much like a Cristobal culture kind of kid. So I expect, if not this year, next year, him to start blowing up too.
Yeah, I think, but I also think two things can be true at the same time. I think that's a special player. I also think that their secondary might be a question. Maybe raises an eyebrow for me there. Just throwing that out there. All right. ACC defensive breakout players or players to keep an eye on. I guess you started, or did I start? I can't remember who started now.
I don't know.
Anyway, I'll get us kicked off on this one.
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I was like, I thought so, but maybe not. All right. I will go ahead and talk through. Let's see. I didn't put this list in any particular order. So I'm going to talk about a player who's already a star, but you just don't know him yet. Cam Robinson from UVA has been a star since he stepped on campus. He's a true junior. I expect him to be one more year in college football and then off to the league. Really special player. Linebacker, he makes plays all over the field, interceptions, fumble recoveries, forced fumbles. He's a decent blitzer. He's good in coverage. There's nothing he can't do from the linebacker position. I'm a big fan.
Yeah, I think it's exciting. For me, I'm going to do something similar where you have somebody that's already established themselves. They're just taking it to the next level. Give me Will Helt, the defensive end from Clemson, transferred from Purdue, had 5 sacks, multiple, I think it's like double-digit tackles for a loss for Purdue. But now he's on Clemson where he's going to get a lot more exposure to better talent. But also the fact that like you had T.J. Parker and Peter Woods on the other side of the line. Watch this kid flourish.
He's got help. Yeah, he won't be able to be doubled near as frequently. That's a good choice. I've got another one. We talked about some of I mentioned some of the challenges that Miami has in the secondary. This is one player I do not expect to be a part of that. It's Xavier Lucas, the Wisconsin transfer. Kind of made waves in terms of national news after Wisconsin refused to put him in the transfer portal, so he just transferred schools as a student, and now will play for Miami this next year. Lockdown outside corner. That I think is a special player who burst onto the scene as a freshman at Wisconsin. I think he'll continue to flourish.
Yeah, he's lucky he gets to go home now. So
yeah.
Give me somebody else on the Miami team. Give me Justin Scott. Former 5-star defensive lineman recruit. He got in most games last year, but now he's going to be relied on for most of the minutes. and you have Armando Blunt and Bain on that same line. Good luck stopping Miami's line. Clemson Miami line are going to be rough to watch for anybody, and rough to play for anybody that has to play them. So,
yeah, that's a good choice. My last one, again, another one that I think is kind of a star already, but you may not know it just yet. Cade Uluwave, linebacker, Cal. Have you seen him play?
I have not.
Well, number one, Cal has just churned out some very good linebackers in the most recent years, from Teddy Buchanan. So yeah, Cade was second on the team in tackles and 71 tackles. Had one interception last year, a couple of sacks, but kind of steps in as that leader of the defense now. Yeah, really special player. Plays like, all the cliches. Plays like his hair is on fire, constant motor, all those things. But now he's the leader of the defense with Teddy Buchanan moving on to the NFL. Man, he left it all on the field. Watch that Cal Miami game one more time. He was everywhere and so distraught when they came up just short of that win. You could just tell it meant so much to him. He's a really fun player to watch.
Well, that'll be exciting. I need to check that out. Last but not least, kind of already a name, but give me Sammy Brown, linebacker out of Clemson.
Yeah.
This front seven of Clemson is going to be nasty. Sammy Brown's probably, dare say it, he's the best one out of it, all the front seven, just with the mobility and ability to get around. He's not going to be the best because he's not the most experienced, but we're going to see him grow, and we'll see him compete for national honors, I imagine.
Yeah, I'm not arguing with that. I agree. He was on my list. He was going to be just an honorable mention for me. The other one that I was going to call out is Jordan Vandenberg, a defensive tackle for Georgia Tech. Good player. I think had some injuries last year, but when he was available, really, really strong player. So nice. I'm excited to see him lace it up for the Yellow Jackets in 25. All right, shift gears. Big Ten. Do you want to alternate back? Like I can hand it back to you, but then you do all the offensive ones, and then I lead all the defensive ones. However you want to play it.
I don't care. Let's just do what we did last time.
All right, go ahead.
Offense. I'm going to go under the radar a little bit. Let's go Luke Reynolds, tight end from Penn State. Tyler Warren had 104 catches, and Drew Aller has to pass the ball to somebody. I mean, he only completed 200-something passes last year, and almost half of them were to Tyler Warren. I'm not a believer in Drew Aller's professional potential. I know a lot of people are. But I think he will utilize Luke Reynolds in that tight end spot, and I expect him to blow up a little bit.
Cool. I appreciate you noticing I'm wearing the Washington hat and not taking my first choice for offensive breakout player, Damon Williams, the QB at Washington. Have you watched him play?
Yes.
Like that Louisville Washington bowl game was one of the more exciting non-playoff games this past season. Again, in 2024, limited reps, admittedly, but a 78% completion percentage, an 8-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. Not to mention, let's look at his rushing stats, which may be a little bit limited by sacks. Okay, yeah, 83 rushes, 282 yards. This is just total, so I'm sure there's sacks baked in there as well. Long of 43, 2 touchdowns. Really, really electric, dynamic player, and with Jed Fish, he was able to unlock things in Noah Fifita's game that did not transfer when they got a new coaching staff at Arizona. I think Damon Williams is going to be a big part of Washington's resurgence this year.
Was he originally recruited to Arizona and then followed?
Yeah, he was committed to them there and then followed them when that coaching staff left.
Nice. All right. Big Ten offensive players. Give me Brandon Inniss, wide receiver for Ohio State University. With Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate being 1 and 2, I think it gives him an opportunity to build up on the 14 catches he had from last year. And we all know he's quality. He's just got to have the opportunity. He's had some amazing players over the top of him. So
I like it. I will go with Kyron Hudson, wide receiver at Penn State. I liked your thought of Drew Aller has to throw to someone. Kyron Hudson was pretty productive, 400 yards at USC on 24 catches, so pretty productive with those opportunities. I think the volume that's going to go his way at Penn State will probably go up, just being one of very few targets that I really feel somewhat confident in at Penn State. So Kyron Hudson at Penn State is one I'm looking at.
All right. I'm going to take an easy one here and go Bryce Underwood, quarterback from
There you
Michigan.
go.
Although the 5-star is likely to take the reins of the quarterback of the offense this year, I don't know how much they're going to ask him to do because they can rely on their running backs. But as the season goes along, expect his talent just to explode and showcase hardcore.
That was another one. That was probably going to be my last one, but I'll give you a bonus one that I think is intriguing from from a few different perspectives. I hope I'm saying the name right. I think it's Naziah Hunter. He's a Cal transfer to Nebraska. Last year had about 500 yards in Cal's offense, which is very run heavy. Had a decent supporting cast of Fernando Mendoza, who's now at Indiana, who was throwing him the football, and they got to throw off play action. But goes to a place where he's got, Dylan Raiola is his quarterback, and I think that this is the opportunity. They wanted to put weapons around Dylan Raiola. This is one of them. So I think he'll be a breakout player. And you probably put Raiola as one that maybe takes a leap forward, but I think having a better supporting cast like Hunter around him is going to be a big part of that.
All right, so on defensive players?
Yes.
You want to kick us off?
Yes, I will kick us off because I struggled with this one, like we said off camera. Big Ten defensive players. I'm going to go with the obvious one again. He's already a star. Most people just don't know him. Coy Parrish, Minnesota, true freshman last year, lit the world on fire. Lots of big plays. There's word that he might play a little bit of offense this year too, which is exciting. He's a superstar at safety for the Golden Gophers.
Nice. I'm going to go Tony Rojas, linebacker at Penn State. He started all 16 games last year, was Big Ten honorable mention, but just expect him to take his game to the next level as they change defensive coordinators. Honestly, it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah, Tom Allen got a nice
big bonus,
got a nice upgrade in terms of the pieces he's able to work with moving to Penn State. For me, I have a question for you. Is there such thing as a quiet 10.5 sacks? Because I feel like Mateo Uiagalelei had a very quiet 10.5 sack season in 2024. So I'll admit I'm kind of cheating on this one, but I just think he'll be kind of the talk of the town of Oregon's defense. Whereas, last year he maybe wasn't quite, I think between Derek Harmon and some of the pieces they had in the secondary, he maybe wasn't the one that was given all of the credit. But I expect similar production and certainly a lot more attention on him this year.
Nice. I'm going to take a 2-for-1 actually right now. Give me Caden Curry and Edric Houston, both on Ohio State's offensive line. They need to replace defensive line. They need to replace most of their defensive line. Both top 150 and top 30 recruits. Finally give them the opportunity to step up. Let's see them bring it. Let's see Ohio State continue to stay in the mix for the national championship.
I like it. I'll stay on the defensive line, but I'm going to go to Lincoln, Nebraska once again. They lost quite a bit, both in the transfer portal and their defensive line coach, but they brought in Williams Nwaneri, a defensive end who was at, a top recruit, was at Missouri last year, had limited opportunities to really show himself. I think there was some injury challenges there as well. I don't know if that was the only thing keeping him off the field. With Nebraska, the depth chart's going to be a lot thinner, and so there will be opportunities. The question is, can Nebraska get other teams into obvious passing situations where Nwaneri is kind of more built to be a pass rusher than he is a run stopper at this stage in his development?
Yeah. I'm going to ruin this name, so I'm sorry in advance. Ife Obidegwu, quarterback out of Oregon. He's a 4-star recruit, freshman that has been blowing up in spring. People are talking about him ascending the depth chart. So I'm excited to see what opportunities he has to really establish himself on that Oregon defense. I mean, you got Dan Lanning, so you got a great mind that you're learning from, and so you can really expound yourself.
I like it. They'll be tested against some of those big Big Ten passing offense. Do they play Ohio State in the regular season this year?
Off
That'd
the
be the
top of my
biggest
head, I
test.
don't know. Let me see.
I mean, it would stand to reason that you would want them to if you're the conference to just have that game of inventory for your broadcast partner, but perhaps
They
not.
do play. I think on the. Oh
In the
no, I'm
horseshoe,
looking
I'm
at another.
assuming they must.
I'm
No
looking at
worries.
another schedule. Sorry.
All good. But yeah, that's an exciting one to keep in mind for the Ducks in 25 for the Big 12
So I only
offensive
have
players.
2 defensive players for that FY. So
Oh, for the Big 12.
yeah,
That's fine. We'll do offense first, and if it's a little bit lighter of a list on the defensive side, no worries.
yeah,
Um, all right. For the offensive side, you want to go first?
yeah. I'm gonna steal yours. I'm sure I'm gonna steal it.
Do it.
Give me Devin Dampier, the quarterback for the Utes, the transfer from New Mexico. He's gonna be in a quarterback battle with Isaac Wilson, but dynamic runner, dynamic with the ball in his hands, and it could open up the Utes offense. They got a new offensive coordinator this year, but golly, that thing struggled last year.
It did. It did. And great minds think alike, but maybe not quite exactly alike because I chose Wayshawn Parker, his partner in the backfield, Utah's running back. And here was my thought process. Devin Dampier obviously is going to capture a lot of attention. I don't know how good they're going to be throwing the football. Both Devin Dampier, I don't think is a super strong thrower of the football. Admittedly, that's me thinking on the 3 games that I saw him play at New Mexico last year. So a limited sample size. But I just remember, yeah, he's more dynamic as a runner, which will open up holes for Wayshawn Parker. Not to mention, Utah, I think, returns 4 of 5 starters along the offensive line. And I think within those 4 starters, you have 3 pretty surefire NFL picks. So they will open up holes. They will move people. Wayshawn Parker, and of course, Devin Dampier will benefit from that. I just chose Wayshawn Parker from Washington State, came over with his running backs coach, Mark Atuaya. Really liked what he did last year at Washington State, and think, yeah, moving up to kind of to that Power 5 level will be pretty easy when you get to enjoy blocks by Spencer Fanu and Caleb Lomu and the rest of that offensive line, which is a bunch of maulers.
Yeah, I mean, what happens when you get Polynesian guys? They're just amazing. Give me Dylan Edwards, the running back for Kansas State. Played behind DJ Giddens last year. I went and looked up his stats. He had 74 carries, but still averaged 7.4 yards a carry, which is first among Power 4 running backs. So now that he's got a stranglehold on the position, look for him to compete for all Big 12 honors and all American honors.
I like it. The next one I had, Kanye Udo. Do you know who that is?
I don't off the top of my head.
Okay, transfer running back for Arizona State. He was at Army, and of course, in Army system, you're going to get the benefit of lots of carries, misdirection that's going to open up things for you. But 1,100-yard rusher at Army, scheme change might be an adjustment, but again, enjoys a really good backfield mate with
Kyson Brown.
It's Sam Levitt. Sam Levitt, thank you.
Oh,
Sam Levitt. I said Dallin Levitt. That's his older brother. So Sam Levitt, the quarterback, obviously is going to be a pretty important piece to Arizona State's success. Who are you saying?
I was saying Kyson Brown, the other running back.
Oh yeah, I mean he'll have to split some carries potentially, but I think that also might help him. He's one of those backs that, if he's able to kind of hold, I expect him kind of to be the closer. Like when they're up by 7 or 10 in the fourth quarter, it's hand the ball to Udo and let him salt away the game. So I'm excited to see him in the Power 5. He's had an awesome career at Army. And yeah, now on to a higher level of competition.
All right. For me, give me Jake Retzloff. For BYU fans, you guys know who that is. That's your starting quarterback. He has been your starting quarterback for a year. But with most of his tools coming back for this year, look for this guy to compete at the national level and to be one of those quarterbacks that's in the conversation for the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks drafted next year. I think he's been bitten by some inconsistency previously, but I think with the time and the ability to kind of just go through with the offense, he's going to continue to elevate his game to the next level. I mean, you have some good tools there, so I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, I have some others that I'm considering. So maybe I'll just give you the thought process. If I really want to roll the dice and go on a guy that's not really known now, but I think might be known by the end of the 2025 season, I'm going to go with JoJo Phillips, one of the wide receivers at BYU, who has been, second or third on the depth chart. I think from a physical standpoint, he's the most gifted wide receiver on BYU's roster. Just need to see it a little bit more consistently, but his best is better than the rest of them. So I'm excited to see. I mean, and that's not saying that there's some good talent in that room. That's not me trying to take a dig at anyone. I just think when he's on his game, he is the best of the bunch. I just need to see it more frequently, and I think we get that in 2025.
And I was thinking the same thing with Keelan Marion. Like he's up there with the physical capabilities. Just can he elevate his game now that Darius Lassiter's moved on? So
I just like JoJo Phillips as the bigger outside. He's what 6'4", 220. So or 220 might be a little generous. I'm not sure exactly what his measures are. He's a big physical guy and fast on the outside. I think he's got all the tools to be a really dominant wide receiver. I think he's been a year away, and now we're ready for that breakout season.
Yeah.
I also consider Josh Hoover at TCU, who has been really successful to this point. I heard speculation that might be one that Tennessee looks at with Nico moving on, which would be fascinating and sad for the Horned Frogs, but he's a really, really good player too.
And when you get the money, you can pull people from anywhere you want.
That's right. So. Okay, Big 12 defensive players. It sounds like this might be a slightly shorter list, so I'll give you pick since I have maybe a couple more options in my list here.
Let me go Colton Hood, cornerback for Colorado. He played in all 13 games, but he fills the void of Travis Hunter leaving. It kind of feels like me stepping into Shaq's shoes. Good luck, dude.
All right. Another one that I think has been good, maybe even close to great, but maybe not got the attention that he perhaps deserves. Jacob Kongaika for Arizona State, defensive tackle, really held his own against Texas. Really made some pretty important plays that kept them in the game late, including I think he's in on one of the fourth down stops, and just was an important player there. I think he'll again takes his game to the next level from that defensive tackle position, and people are going to have to game plan around him.
Okay. Give me Cannon Butler for Iowa State on the defensive line. They need to replace their best defensive line production, and they're going to turn to the Northern Iowa transfer and see how he does.
Okay. Again, another one that is probably a better player than we're really giving him, or than I'm giving him credit, saying he's going to break out, because I felt like he already broke out, but you don't hear him talked about a whole lot. Isaiah Glatsker for BYU, linebacker, really, really good player. I don't have his stats right in front of me. Let me get them in front of me, because I feel like he deserves a lot more hype than he's received to this point. Mm-hmm. So last year, in 2024, he had 70 total tackles, 42 solo, 1 forced fumble, 3 interceptions, and a touchdown. BYU's linebacker core is talented and deep, but he is the leader in the clubhouse as far as production, and expect just more of the same, higher volume from Glatsker.
I like it. I got no more.
Okay. A couple other quick, maybe honorable mentions. Lee Hunter, defensive tackle at Texas Tech. I think he was pretty good at UCF. Chased the bag out to Lubbock, and he's going to be expected to produce there. Logan Fano at Utah. This one I'm a little worried about, just because he's a defensive end and he benefited from being on the same defensive line as, I'm now going to blank on all of their names. Keanu Tanuvasa, who's transferred out. Both the other defensive ends are now, they're escaping me, but both of them off to the NFL. Oh, that's embarrassing. But so he's going to have to be the guy, is kind of the long and short of it. Ellis, yeah. I can't remember his first name. Somebody Ellis, and someone else. That's bugging me. That's leaving me right now. But yeah, so he's going to be expected to kind of carry the pass rushing load for the Utah Utes. So someone to consider there as well.
Nice.
SEC. SEC. Offensive offensive breakout players for you.
Let's go. The one that we all want to take, Nick Harbor, wide receiver from South Carolina. Come on. The dude's 6'5", 240, runs a 10-1, 100. He had 15 catches for 272 yards last year. Can he translate his video game freakish likeness to the field? I mean, Lenore Sellers has started coming out, had it kind of coming out last year. I'm kind of excited to see how they do together.
Yeah, that's an interesting choice. Like you said, yeah, he's a video game player. We just gotta be a little bit more consistent with the hands. Is one of my concerns there.
I say just get the ball in his hands. Even if you have to do
that's true.
Reverses.
Okay, I have Luke Hasz. He's now at Ole Miss. He's a tight end. Started as a true freshman at Arkansas 2 years ago. Last year was his true sophomore year. With all the upheaval that Arkansas had at the QB position, he still caught as a tight end 324 yards on 26 catches, 12.5-yard average, 4 touchdowns. Now he gets Austin Simmons as his quarterback, who I think is an upgrade. He gets Lane Kiffin as his play caller, who I think is an upgrade. And Caden Prieskorn did very well for himself in that offense. I think this is a plug-and-play switch. If you're a Rebels fan, you got to be really excited with that Tressel Portal edition.
I'm also going to go with an Ole Miss person. I'm going with Austin Simmons.
Nice. Yeah.
I enjoyed watching him in the few spurts that he got to play during last year. He looked like very successful, and I think Ole Miss fans need to be excited. You're on the verge of competing for a playoff berth. I think you're not going to fall much. I think Austin Simmons has the ability to keep you right there on that edge, competing for a playoff berth this year.
I like it. Yeah, he is not short on confidence. If you've seen him talk, and it's so far, I think it's earned. Don't get me wrong, but he's a very confident player, and I think for good reason. All right, my next pick. You liked a tight end, or I guess I mentioned one tight end. Tight end's a position that I'm all over the site. Trades Green, tight end at LSU, only had 13 catches last year. True freshman. Only had 13 catches, 100 yards, 4 touchdowns. He's a red zone threat, and kind of started to really pick it up as the season went on. Let me get that in front of me too. Let me pull up his stats from like the game log and look at those stats kind of as they went on throughout the season. Scored. Maybe I'm mistaken. Yeah, okay, yeah. So in the bowl game, 6 catches, 53 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Against Vanderbilt, 1 catch. Like really kind of came on toward the end of the season. Got more playing time against Texas A&M, a couple of catches. So limited exposure, but I think is going to be an important target for Garrett Nussmeier in 2025 with losing again Kyron Lacey, who tragically passed away. I don't know if you saw that. That's a rough situation all the way around. But with the changes in LSU's roster, Trades Green becoming a threat from the tight end position is going to be important for them in 2025.
For sure. Give me Dallas Wilson, wide receiver for UF. Freshman, true freshman, was committed to Oregon and switches over to UF. In the spring game, the dude had 10 catches, 195 yards, and 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And Billy Napier's comments were, that's what a 5-star should look like. I think this kid's going to be a threat right from the get-go. And with DJ Lagway, especially with that deep threat opportunity, it's going to be fun.
All right. I'm torn between a couple here. And maybe I'll just list them off, I'll choose one and then give the honorable mentions to the other. I'm going to go with my gut here and just say C.J. Baxter at Texas, injured right at the very beginning of last season, kind of had the season essentially taken from. What was it? Was it in preseason camp? I can't remember, but it was poised to be a big part of the rushing attack for Texas. And who knows? Like again, if Arch Manning isn't ready to carry the day and really lead that offense from a passing perspective, which perhaps he is. But either way, they're going to be fairly balanced. I think Texas has been pretty good about he throws the ball a lot, but I mean, when he sees that they're running the football, I think in the last year and a half, Sark's been willing to just say, okay, we'll run it until they can stop it.
Yep.
And CJ Baxter, I think, is the beneficiary of that primarily. Again, health permitting is the caveat I'll put on that.
Yeah, CJ Baxter, one I was sad. I think at one point in time, Florida State thought they were in it.
Well, he was committed to FSU as like a junior or something.
Oh, there you go. And then I think it was coming down to committed to Florida State and flipping over to Texas. And that was when I was sad to see go, to be honest. I think he'll be a special player, too. I have an honorable mention I'll give out to Cam Coleman. He's a 5-star wide receiver. Everybody kind of knows who this is. But with Auburn's quarterback play the last year or so, hasn't been able to flourish like we kind of see. And they bring in Jackson Arnold, and then they also bring in the transfer Eric Singleton from Georgia Tech. Now he's going to have a quarterback that can throw him the ball, and also somebody else that their defensive backs are going to have to watch this kid blow up a little bit.
Yeah. I kind of had him in the. He might be a big enough name that I couldn't list him, but I'm right there with you. You didn't even mention Perry Thompson. I think they have 3 really good wide receivers. So if quarterback pans out for them, they're in for a treat on the plains. My other 2 that I was considering, Kevin Coleman. My issue with Kevin Coleman is that he's been at a different school every single year that he's been in college. But he's been productive every year too. So go with that. I think that him in Missouri, he'll step right into the role that's being vacated by, oh gosh, now I'm blanking on the star wide receiver from Missouri last year.
For some reason, I would say
today is not a good day for me in terms of just the name recognition of different players. Luther Burden, there it is. He likely steps into that same role. I think they kind of even have a similar build and similar qualities to their game. He may not be quite as sudden out of his breaks, which again is picking nits because I think he's good, but Luther Burden was extremely special at that and very unique in that. The other one that I had was Jaden Baugh, the running back from UF, who benefits from Lagway getting extra attention because he's such a powerhouse in the run game. Again, some of this maybe is a little bit dependent on Lagway's ability to throw the football, which he has not done in spring. So take that for what it is. But Jaden Baugh, about 600 yards as a freshman running back last year. I expect to double that again if the rest of the pieces around Florida kind of are what we currently expect them to be in terms of health. I think he's poised for a really big season. Again, if they have to go to a backup QB and they have to lean more on the run game and defenses can kind of plan on that, maybe that slows him down a bit, but I don't think it slows him down all that much still. I expect him to be 1,000-yard back.
That's cool. Should we go defensive players?
Let's do it.
I think you get to go first this time, don't you?
I do, and this is the one I feel like the least confident in for a couple of reasons.
That they are breakout players, or?
Yeah, well, exactly. Like some of them, it's like, all right, am I cheating by taking a guy that I already know is really productive, but I expect him to ascend to a new level? But also, I just feel like there's a couple of wild cards that I think will do big things given more opportunity. So I'll start with the first one. Again, you can tell me if this is cheating, but I think Raylan Wilson, linebacker at UGA, was a great player last year. Now I think he'll be expected to be the leader of the defense, and I expect kind of Nakobe Dean-esque numbers from him. I think he'll be that good.
Okay, I'll go along the same lines. Give me, instead of the linebackers, give me the safeties. Give me KJ Bolden. This is, in my opinion, this is a Caleb Downs level player without the Caleb Downs quite recognition of the name because he didn't transfer. He played in all their games, started 2 of them, but he's going to be one of the best DBs in the SEC next year, and I'm excited to watch him play.
Yeah, it was on my list too, so good one. The next one I'll go with true freshman defensive ends from Texas that are really well thought of recruits, seem to play well there. Again, I couldn't put Colin Simmons here as a sophomore. I just feel like he's a little too known, but I think Lance Jackson has the opportunity to be in their pass rush package alongside Colin Simmons, and maybe you're moving Ethan Burke inside as the kind of the bigger defensive end, allowing Lance Jackson and Colin Simmons to rush the edges. yeah, I think that's one where he'll be able to be sort of that hired gun where he'll maybe limited in terms of the total number of snaps, but elevated impact in that he's going to be able to benefit from lots of the attention being placed on the other side with Colin Simmons. So,
all right, I'm going to give you a re-breakout player of the.
oh,
Give me Harold Perkins, linebacker, LSU. He had a great freshman campaign. Sophomore year was kind of a dud. Tore his ACL. They've got a new defensive coordinator in Blake Baker, and he'll be featured in the star position, which will really allow him to take advantage of his mobility and coverage skills. I'm excited to see him come back and be what everybody kind of expected him to be after he just dominated the Arkansas game his freshman year. So,
okay, I like it. I'm torn between two players.
the second one.
The second one. Okay. Kayan Lee, I don't even know if I'm saying his name right. Auburn. True sophomore, I believe. I'm going to get that wrong. Is he a true sophomore? I think so. Let me just double check that real quick.
Do you want me to jump in with one of mine while you're looking for that?
No, I got it right here. Oh, he's a junior. So, but I think started all of last year, was a pretty strong player for him. I think he becomes an all-conference type player this year for the Auburn Tigers.
Nice. Give me Caleb Banks, defensive lineman for Florida. In his last 3 games, he had 3.5 sacks. He's kind of started to wreak havoc. Look for him to build on that and really push UF's defense into the next level.
I like it. Did you have any like Notre Dame /G5 people?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, I'll be fast here. I only had one on offense, and really I probably should change this just given the buzz out of Notre Dame's spring game. CJ Carr seems like he's the real deal, so I'll just add him in. Like, okay, interested in that one. Yeah. I am very excited to see Alex Orji, the former Michigan quarterback at UNLV. So he's at UNLV, right?
Okay.
And oh my gosh, I am struggling with names today.
Who was their quarterback last year that was so productive? And
Well,
he's kind of very similar.
Haj Malik Willis is there, but it's a different coaching staff. It's
yeah, because Broncos left.
Well, it's UNLV. It's not in Mexico. Gosh, but with the Florida coach,
Yeah,
Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen's
I remember he was on the.
I was like, I could see him. He's looking me dead in the eye, but he's wearing a Mississippi State visor, not the Florida. But yeah, Alex Orji, I think, is the kind of guy that Dan Mullen will design an offense around. And I kept wanting to say Muschamp too. It's the MU, I think, that was messing me up. But Dan Mullen will get an offense organized around Orji's running capabilities. Will use that to then make a couple of design some open plays in the passing game where Alex Orji just has to be close to accurate. And I think that's an exciting one. I know that UNLV had a great season, and of course their offensive coordinator is now the head coach at Sacramento State, and Brennan Marion. Their head coach Barry Odom is now at Purdue. He's the head coach somewhere. I think it's Purdue. But lots of changes there. But I think that they might be able to step right in and kind of not skip a beat in the Mountain West race. And then I don't know if you had any of these. I didn't prepare you for this, so this is not fair to you. But the only one I had on the defensive side, Kingston Viliamu-Asa for Notre Dame, linebacker, was fairly productive last year when thrown into duty. I thought he played pretty well in the playoff for a true freshman. So excited to see him, again continue to ascend. Marcus Freeman was a linebacker by position. I think this is one that he'll continue to develop and really become the next Notre Dame great in the middle of that defense.
I'm excited for the year. I'm excited to see these players kind of hit their stride. There's a lot of players that I dug into as well and considered, and really seeing who's going to blossom and really become those next contributors and even those next stars. It's always fun because you really never know when you draft or when you recruit players if you're going to hit a home run or not.
Yeah, so much of it is in how they develop once they arrive on campus. So of course some of them may have certain physical gifts just that are, kind of components of genetics and hard work up to that point. But again, it's a new level. You never know how kids are going to respond, and it's always exciting to see those ones that take the challenge head on and really bring forth the requisite effort and work to to put on a show for us fans. Like it's just we get treated to it every Saturday. So excited to see who of this list pans out. For their sakes, I hope they all do. But odds are, knowing my track record, I've got at least 50-60% of them wrong. But we'll see which of those 50, which of those ones do and do not pan out like we'd hope.
Yeah, we're predicting the future. You never know.
That's right. That's right. Any other hot takes or kind of last?
I think you touched on Kyrie and Lacey. Our heart goes out to their family and also to the families that were affected by his actions earlier. I mean, that's just rough.
Alleged actions, I think, is an important caveat for now, right? Like,
yeah, yes, they don't
but
never
yes,
know, right?
but yeah, it's no one wins. Like we said, it's rough. On that note, we'll wrap this one, and thanks everyone for checking us out, and tuning in, and we'll see you next time.